Hey, Chad, man, how we doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a busy week, and I'm looking forward to a few more busy weeks.
Absolutely. Same over on this side, too, man. I'm joined for my listeners with a novelist, a producer, an actor, a director, and recently a wrestler. Can we start with the wrestling? What the hell was that?
Oh, I have a celebrity referee, at the micro wrestling, a year or two ago, and then they were back in town, and I have a friend of mine who I went to school with who was out there and asked me to pop out for a drink, and they were just coming in and setting up, and I didn't realize that they were there. So of course, I got drug up into the rink for just a little bit. So
That's incredible. So, what was it like to get slammed down? Because I saw the photo, and you looked like you were
oh
in
yeah,
some duress there.
oh yeah, he's they got some muscle to him, I tell you that.
Absolutely. I'm a huge wrestling fan. The family and I had the benefit of actually getting front row tickets to one of the early SmackDown on Fox shows. And they go hard, man. Anyone that, doesn't give credit to a professional wrestler, like from the WWE or anywhere, any kind of like wrestler in general that does that sort of thing,
Oh
like
yeah.
these guys work hard, brother. You ever been to
They
a
do,
pro
and
wrestling?
all of them extremely talented, uh, very entertaining. I think the young lady who was one of the wrestlers as well out there. I mean, she's posed for Playboy magazine and such, but we had a really good time.
Well, I'm sure. But, I got to say, man, speaking of good times, we got some great production coming up. We Five will unpack in a moment. But good times. For me, it's been music, sports, films, TV shows, video games, new hobbies. I took up golf recently and I'm terrible at that. What about you? What have you been doing, Chad, man, of late to keep busy?
Well, aside just from prepping on some productions that's upcoming, I've got five more movies that I've got to do before the end of this year. I just got finished wrapping up a little bit of filming yesterday, and also did a television commercial.
That's excellent, man. I mean, you're keeping busy. I was going through your resume earlier, and I know you've done some directing for a short film, and you obviously doing some acting. What got you into the whole show business mindset?
Well, I kind of grew up with it. I used to be on a TV show when I was little called Monty's Rascals, which was a broadcast here in Greenville, South Carolina. And then by the time I got to junior high and stuff, when MTV was big and the economy was good, I did a couple of bank commercials for Bank of Atlanta and American Federal Bank, with the black sheep and everything. So, and then I started to get into writing and penned out about three novels that I've got out all in the area here. And then I just started picking back up on acting, and I really enjoy it the most. But I actually enjoy a little bit also behind the scenes, with directing and producing. And for the remainder of this year, I'm going to be taking on several different roles with several different production companies, and I'm very excited at the projects that we're going to be working on because they're quite varied in their nature, and to be working with each one of them specifically and individually on each project, is what I'm looking forward to most. So.
Oh, absolutely, man. Keeping it a wide range of just great things, diversity, changing it up, different roles. And that's what makes an actor great. I mean, some of my favorite actors are pretty much chameleons, dude. They could play like anything. Like, obviously, we know Eric Roberts, and, he's one of those guys that could be a bad guy and be like, in a karate film and be the good guy, but also
Yeah.
kick some ass. Like, it's just absolutely incredible. Versatility is everything. And that's why I love certain actors, where they could pull off different roles, where they're just not always like, stereotyped and just typecast it and stuff like that. As
You
far as
do. You really just got to get in and develop the character, and then, it's what's the great thing is that when you find a role for a character that that you can just totally not only just contribute to, but then completely develop and then just become that character, So I'm
You
looking
know,
forward to a couple of those roles coming up this year. You know, hopefully one involves me getting a mohawk. So,
I had a mohawk. I lost my mind
did
during COVID.
you?
Yeah, I did. And I went on a radio show and they're like, Johnny, what's going on? You look like Taxi Driver. Like I had a straight up mohawk. And I'm like, I don't know, man. The kid just decided, my stepdaughter, 12 years old, she looks at me. She's like, I want to give you a mohawk. I said, all right, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. You know, sure. Wait, I'm not working right now. No one can leave the house. Give me a mohawk. It's all good.
Okay.
I was going to ask you about novels. You're a writer. It takes a lot to write. What are your books about? You said you did 3 of them. Like, can you tell us the
Yeah,
nature of those books?
I basically write murder mystery novels. I'm one of these junkies that watches Dateline and Court TV and everything. So I kill people in my novels. So I'm constantly thinking of new and interesting ways to kill them. So, but yeah, I love the drama. I love being able to take people on a roller coaster ride and lead you down avenues and alleys, and then I'm letting you kind of figure it out as the character does. But then there's also times that you may figure it out before you find out the character does. So I enjoy taking people on the journey.
My wife loves that stuff. She's watching that stuff all the time. I wake up in the morning, investigative, like television's on and forensics and all this kind of stuff. And it's very interesting. And it's funny because I'm drafting the screenplay myself, and my stepdaughter was like going over like the summary and some of the script. And she's like, you need a death scene, man. Like this is too happy. Like this is supposed to be a martial arts film. Someone's got to die. I'm like,
that's one big change that's came about in the world, just within the past 10 years with COVID, reality TV and stuff like that, as to where people used to really sit and get involved in a movie, get wrapped up in the characters and stuff. With so much reality now and factual information coming at us, you have to include those elements in with the fantasy. So now it's kind of a blend to where you're telling the story and you want to give good character development and such, but then you also want there to be referenceable, factual information and such, to a degree, even in fiction, that will just keep you kind of more interested and on the edge and wanting to look into it further.
Absolutely. And speaking of deaths, like in films, like my childhood was ruined in 1980. I think it was 5 and 86. They killed off Optimus Prime in the Transformers movie. They killed Apollo Creed in Rocky 4. I mean, like, but it has weight, it has gravity to it, and that's what makes you feel like the impact of it, and that's drama. That's great cinema, man. Like and for TV shows, for me, I've been watching great television shows. Sopranos, I keep going back to Boardwalk Empire.
Oh yeah,
great. Terrence Winter does a great job with every production he's on. He did Vinyl and all that kind of stuff. What television shows are you watching right now currently, buddy?
Just within the past month, I've not been lucky enough to even sit down for a few minutes in front of the TV. So. But no, I try to still look back on older movies and stuff like that, especially along the genre of which I write on and stuff. So I rewatch movies like Misery and such, just so that I can get inspiration as far as, getting more into depth, but then while also analyzing it all to where I'm not just taking you on a journey, but I want it to be an exercise of your emotions.
What came to mind immediately was a couple films, and Memento is one of my favorite ones. Have you?
Oh yeah, great movie.
Wow. What a great, fantastic film that was. Like, it came out of nowhere. You really have to like stay with it. But I mean, the process of film writing for that and the acting was just so good, And then we had a lot of movies around that period, if I'm not mistaken, like Fight Club, Seven was very good. A lot of movies where there's kind of like you have to figure out like where it's going, but it's so intriguing, and they have like a certain continuity to it that just makes it so good. I think that a lot of film nowadays has gotten better with that kind of like focus on putting together, a cohesive story. And I think that's what we
Yeah.
try to do as storytellers, right?
Yeah, it's on the complete architecture of it, because like what you were saying with Fight Club and stuff like that, all these movies, starting to incorporate new elements into there, not only visually and stuff, but audioly, CGI and such, to where you're going to then be bombarded by, different visuals and different audio actions, and stuff like that. And then, everything from animatronics, to animation and stuff that you have to see coming in and out, that you're having to process, but yet you want to keep the interest on it so that you follow them and that you follow that story and you see what goes, and you also want it to be relatable. You want it to touch people, into something in their lives, either emotionally or either something in their daily life.
That's the best feeling. Again, you're bringing up so many thoughts in my head about films I've watched recently or back in the day. A Star Is Born did that to me, man. Like, I was crying. Like, I couldn't even look at my wife. I'm like, I don't want you to see this, because the movie is so good. And I didn't know. People are like, this is a remake of a remake of a remake of a remake, but
it takes all those different outlooks, and it takes all those different inputs, for a person like me as a writer or producer or director, I may have an idea and stuff like that, but not just trying to micromanage the entire thing, but I want to hear the opinions of the people around me and stuff like that, and tell me what you got out of it. Tell me what you thought of it. Tell me what stood out of it to you. And then I reassess constantly, just constantly learning and reassessing and learn how to take a different approach or take a different outlook on it and stuff.
Yes, sir. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's an emotional roller coaster. A movie like that, it starts off so fun, and you're like, this is a good movie. This is so fun. And then it gets like sad. Again, I'm talking about Star Is Born. And I was like, Bradley Cooper, first of all, kicked ass in that film. He
did.
So many layers of character. It's just really amazing acting. And then like you realize this is going really bad, really fast. And you're like, okay, so they gave you the good news first and the bad news is coming. And then you start watching these scenes, and like, it was such an emotional roller coaster. Excellent film. Switching categories now to more badass stuff, because making movies and television shows and directing is badass. Music, tattoos, and booze, and smoking cigarettes. Yeah, kids, they're all badass. So
they are, man. And I only smoke usually when I'm having a drink, and my drink of choice is Jack and Coke, and it's Sunday and I'm not going anywhere. So
absolutely, bottoms up, bro. I got a little vodka seltzer here. Cheers, my man.
Another good one.
So let me say this, dude. 100. I don't smoke cigarettes unless I get a buzz on. Why do you think that is? Like, why does that trigger in the brain? Do you have an answer for that?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, my father passed away from drinking, and my grandfather passed away from smoking. So I keep both of them under an extreme moderation. But it's kind of, for me, I never got a chance to sit with my dad and have a drink, and I never got a chance to sit with my grandfather and smoke a cigarette. And so at times when I'm wanting to sit and relax and think or write or anything, and kind of like on Sundays, I'll have a drink and I'll smoke a cigarette, and the flavors kind of go together.
Yeah, they do. They go hand in hand. And you said
just something personal I was sharing with you, not to change the mood. So
no, it's great, man. I totally understand what you're talking about, my man. So with the drink, your weapon of choice is what again?
Jack and Coke.
Jack and Coke. And what about cigarettes? What do you smoke?
I don't have a particular brand. I just usually smoke a Newport. I used to go out with a friend of mine, Greg, to Hooters for lunch, about every day. And he smoked. And so he was always just sitting across the table from me smoking, and so, and when we would have a drink, I ended up taking puffs or two off with his cigarettes. So I have a pack of Newports, that I'll pick from, whenever I'm having a drink.
I call it the John Cougar Mellencamp. And like when you chain smoke, because there's times out here in Vegas, bro, I'm at a machine, I got a couple drinks in me, I don't have to drive anywhere. I get next thing I know, I'm just firing them
would
up
think,
left and right, brother. It happens, man. You know,
I've
but
got to be out in Vegas sometime, which I was thinking probably the only thing I'd do by the time I get out to Vegas is hit the stage, you know.
dude, absolutely. Anytime, man. I'll show you a great time out here. Have you ever been to Vegas before?
No, I haven't. I've got a friend of mine, a longtime friend who is in Vegas, who I have been talking back and forth about coming to see him now for the past 2 or 3 years. So I'm actually just going to, put the pen to the checkbook and patch myself over.
When you come out here, man, we got to go downtown. Downtown is like one of the craziest experiences ever. Like I've been living in Vegas.
I've been hearing.
Yeah.
I actually want to go see the old part of Vegas,
that's downtown.
Binion's Horseshoe and such. So
yep, that's Fremont Street is like pretty much old Vegas. I've been living out here now 6 years, originally from New Jersey, 42 now. So I came out here in my late 30s. You got to have a good head on your shoulder to live here. But when you come here, have fun. I encourage to have as much fun as you can. Don't be reckless. Don't get crazy. Not saying you in general to my
I'm just
listeners.
Going to give myself like this beginner budget, just like 5,000, for gambling and such, and like that be it. It's like,
oh, it could get crazy, bro. You could have a really good night.
And I know nothing about gambling. I think there was years ago one of the pubs here in town, that I'd pop into on the weekends. They had one of those like video poker games. So
yeah,
I know maybe 2 games how to play.
Oh, but, dude, I love. I mean,
when you walk into the casinos there in Vegas, it's gonna be a complete overload and bombardment of machines. I will not know how to operate. I'll be the one sitting over there with the bucket of quarters.
I know a place to go with that still pays quarters, and I know a place many places to go where you get the comp drinks at the machines, and you don't have to spend a ton of money. That's what you want to do. That you want to get the bang for the buck, because
I've never been lucky to not have to spend a ton of money.
You gotta you go there, you get your couple drinks, you spend some bucks, maybe you make some bucks, but at the end of the day, at least you're getting comped and you throw your bartender a nice tip. That's one thing I always do.
That sounds good. I mean,
it takes care of me. Yeah.
That sounds pretty good. I mean, usually my drinks have never been the ones that was on special during happy hour.
Well, that's the best part, is that if they see that you're playing and they see that you kind of like got a certain vibe to you, they'll hook you up, like not all places. Like they have a thing out here that now
I'm counting on you to be my tour guide for a day.
Absolutely, man. 100%. It's like they have a thing that's a green light, red light thing. So you can't see it, but the bartender can see it on the opposite end of your machine. So if you get the green light, that means you get a comp drink. If you have a red light, you can't. That means they're not playing much. So I stay away from those places. Like we were just the places I go to is like they know me. They're like, last time this guy came here, he had 2 drinks, he sat at his machine, had a couple cigarettes, and gave me $50. Take care of your bartender. They'll take care of you. That's advice for Las Vegas.
Exactly. I mean, I'm usually very good at taking care of my bartenders.
Got to do it.
I'll have to bring me some cheat notes to watch.
They're the ones that'll keep you around. And, my wife has better gambling luck than I do. I like to play the video poker. I used to like in Jersey and Atlantic City playing roulette, but out here I kind of stopped table games because they're everywhere. Like when you go to AC for a night, you're like, all right, I got a bankroll, I could spend this. You live in Vegas, you can't be hitting the table every night, bro.
Right. Oh no, I'm gonna leave it at like a low, like $5,000 mountain, and just I can't be those $15,000-$20,000 high rollers. No, not on a first time of Vegas.
So moving on to more badass stuff. Let's talk about tattoos. You got some, I got some. Tell me about your tattoos, man.
I've just kind of, I've just collected some trinkets, over the years and stuff like that. I've had a couple of friends of mine who's usually been the one to drag me out, because I gave up, the corporate world, decades ago. So I figured, well, I can sport some tattoos right now. So there's a couple. My friend out in Vegas, as a matter of fact, said that he was going to take me to go get a tattoo, and it would be a tattoo of his choosing. So
Well, that's interesting. My niece, who's now 14, wanted me to get a frog tattooed on my neck, and I said that,
Mm.
tattoos of the choosing, you got to be careful with those.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to be really careful with those. But yeah, I'm a big fan. I want to get so much more. It's very addictive. Like when you get the first one, and then you start just putting it on. Like you look around the house, I'm like, that wine bottle right there, I want to get that tattooed over here. Like, no, don't do that. What are you thinking? Because it's so addictive. It's a great thing though, the tats, man. What about music? Badass stuff. I'm a big classic rock fan. What do you like?
Pretty much classic rock. I listen to some R&B. I love country, so I'm kind of across the board, which I imagine a lot of people are these days, because there's so much available now. You've watched all the categories of music go from like rock, country, to metal, to rave, to trance, to you name it.
Absolutely. I like everything. I was never a country guy until I met my wife, and I started listening to country music, which is all about getting laid, paying bills, drinking, adversity,
Yeah,
love
it's
triangles,
music to bring you down to the basics.
blue collared, just like,
Yeah,
I got to go to work. I got to come home.
It's good grounding you music, so.
Exactly, man. So about let's move on to sports. Do you have like a favorite team or a thing that you watch that you like and enjoy with sports?
I did years ago. I mean, like I used to really pay attention to football teams and stuff like that. But for the past 5 years and stuff like that, with acting and everything, I have completely gotten out of the loop of it. So it's kind of like when I stopped working, corporate wise, 23 years ago. So now when someone tells me, what they make or whatever, I'm like, is that good? Is that good these days? So I'm just completely out of the loop when it comes to sports.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is baseball, football, but I like everything: boxing, mixed martial arts, all that kind of
And
stuff.
I've seen a few of your videos and stuff with the martial arts and everything, and very good. Very good.
Thank you. I'm very excited to hang out with Sean Cannon, a great actor, starred in Karate Kid Part 3, now is on a show called Studio City on Amazon. I'm going to study with him and my buddy Adam McKinley out in 60 miles north of Sacramento. I fly into Sacramento and we go north in the mountains, high altitude training. My second session I'll be doing. And I really appreciate that. I love doing it. It's something I've done my whole life. I've also been a boxer, but now I'm getting back to the martial arts. I did Taekwondo for a long time, Muay Thai, Wishinru, Jiu-Jitsu, and it's one of my passions, man. Like
That's what I'm talking about. And it's good to have passions like that, that you concentrate. Plus, it better keep you in shape, since I'm pleased that you're going to be a part of the We5. So I'm looking forward to actually seeing you in person.
I agree, man. I can't wait. And I tell you what, man, I want a fight scene so bad because I'll just like get someone and throw them around with no spoilers, right? So let's talk about the corporate world real quick, and we'll transition into We5 in a moment. So the corporate world, what were you doing out there, man?
The last job I had, I was a terminal manager for a trucking company off the interstate. We were a gas and chemical hauler, so I dealt with every senior purchasing agent of every major chemical manufacturer in the Southeast. So we delivered loads of xylene, to Fuji Films, caustic to International Paper, loads of alum, to it was just a range of chemicals and gasoline going to all the jet ports and railroad stations and everything. So, but then the company finally closed. I knew the gentleman that was over at Richard Enfinger, who owned all the terminals over the Southeast United States. And it was a pleasure meeting him and stuff and working for him. And then that was kind of when I took on acting.
So perfect transition right there. We5, we're going to be on set together. We're going to be doing production together. I am so looking forward to it, but it's not about me right now. I want to talk about your experience, about how you got associated to some of the greatest people I know in obviously Eric Roberts and Eliza. I mean, they're just so amazing. Lindsay, L, also known as L. you know, everyone that's part of the cast, Keaton Simons, you know, Brandon, everybody, like, what's your association and how did that whole thing come together?
This was in the very, very early stages that Ellie had hit me up about as far as being a part of the We Five. And so me and her have basically been kind of arm in arm walking through the entire process all the way up to getting the cast, getting the production, going through the production, which we're still doing. And we're still going to be side by side to the end.
That's the way to do it. I mean, everything is a work in progress.
Great cast and great crew, and it's just such a fantastic mixture. You know, from musicians to radio hosts to other actors to musicians and such. You know, it's a really, really diverse and great blend. You know, so and I'm looking forward to it, and you're a part of it as well.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing my role. And I think everyone's got great artistic value on set and with the cast. I mean, obviously we have actors, we have powerhouse actors, we have musicians, which is also theater. Like you're on stage, it's theater, you know, like live musicians like Keaton and myself, or whether you're a radio broadcaster or, you know, everyone that is here is going to bring, I think, a great blend. No, actually, I know it's going to bring a great blend of personalities, and that's what's going to make it really genuine.
I think so.
Yeah. I think that's what's going to make everything come together. And I want to talk more about it, but I can't spoil anything, obviously.
Oh yeah, don't spoil anything.
I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Later interview after Atlanta.
It's going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm looking forward to it. And real quick, talking about music, man, Keaton Simons, dude. Wow.
Yeah, it's got some amazing music, and I'm really, really pleased with the selections, which was made by Ellie, you know, to be a part of the soundtrack and everything for the TV series. I mean, but all the music is good, but I was just especially pleased at the tracks that she picked, and I think a couple that he did specifically created for the TV series.
It's wonderful. I will say this. I did see some test footage and I saw some great camera angles, and I also saw Keaton's music, you know, just
he's a great guy.
So awesome, dude. Like, you know, I've had him on my show a couple of times and we've become really good friends, and just an awesome guy, and what a great player. But I saw those test scenes and the music was so good and it fits so perfectly for the vibe. And again, not to give anything away, I had Keaton on the show, though. However, I will say this, and you guys could check it in the archive. We did a Storytellers where Keaton performed 3 songs. We had an anecdote where we talked about the origin of the song, and then Keaton played the song, and then we talked about the whole chemistry of the song, like everything that went into it, the science, the math, the thought process. So like movies and TV shows, usually you need 3 acts. And that's what I tried to do with him. And he nailed it. He is so natural. He could just pick up a guitar with a mic like I have in front of me and sound like he's in a studio, and it's perfect. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah. I mean, for everybody else, it's, you know, complete architecture to get to something, but he just makes it seem so easy, you know, it just comes out.
How does it happen? So, you know, in the meantime, brother, this was excellent. I want to give you a salute, a gendan, as we say in Italian, which means 100 years of happiness. And we're going to do a lot of that when we hang out.
I look forward to seeing you in Atlanta. I will be also during the same week, I guess, that you'll be arriving for filming for We Five. I will be there for that as well, but then I'll also be in Atlanta filming for another movie. So
damn, you got a whole lot going on, bro.
Yeah. That's why I look beat right now. I'm enjoying this drink for Sunday.
Oh yeah. Let's keep it going. So what's going to happen is that after production, obviously, we're going to have a couple of these, but I know you're going to be very busy. What's the other project you're working on, if you don't mind me asking?
I've got a drama movie, which will be following right after this We Five. And then I'm beginning a comedy, which I'm looking forward to, just because I need a good laugh. But then I've got another murder mystery drama movie, which will be filmed in multiple locations. I believe Charleston is some shoots, be some in North Carolina. which I'm going to have a good hand in, and I'm really looking forward to that story.
You know, I want my listeners to understand exactly where we can find you, because you have a lot of interesting stuff going on. You're an interesting guy, a fun guy, and I think a lot of people will love all the content that you're doing. So Instagram, Facebook, like, how do we find you, Chad?
For the moment, I do have a number of social sites and stuff, which I'm having reworked at the moment, just because so much has all of a sudden now came upon me, and I'm already beginning. And so I want to be able to include the information and stuff like that on those sites for everybody to be able to see and find it and such. So my website is under construction at the moment. So the only thing I'm kind of operating on just for this next week or two till I get through filming in North Carolina and in Georgia is Facebook. So I'm pretty much just on Facebook, but I'll be posting some stuff, so you'll be able to see it.
I'll be sure to share the links. And, you know, with us, I'm going to say for me, East Coast Italians, we always want to talk. We got more things to say over here now. So one thing I want to bring up is your love affair for cars.
Oh yeah, I've had quite a number over my lifetime.
Okay. So right now, what's your weapon of choice? What's your vehicle? What are you driving?
I'm driving a Mercedes S63 AMG, which is the large, comfy one, you know, that's got all the bells and whistles. I have two of them. I just had sold a Jeep that I had been working on. I still have my 65 Mustang that I've completely restored. I had sold a nice Toyota Celica, which I had kind of rice burner tricked out, you know, with all the Chinese and, you know, decals and such. But I used to always be just exotic car driving. I've had a few Lamborghinis, I've had a few Ferraris, I had two of the last year model Acura NSXs. I've had a lot of the sport utilities, the Lexus, the Land Rovers, and Mercedes and stuff. And then I had some friends of mine constantly on me saying, well, you don't drive American cars. You don't know what it's like to work on these older cars. And that's when I went out and got me a Toyota Tacoma extended cab 4x4, lifted it, bought the Mustang, bought the Jeep, did all the work to it myself. So I've proven myself now to my friends. I'm like, okay, I can do it all.
That's fantastic, man. You mentioned a 65 Mustang. Can we talk about this? Can we talk about this?
I will be showing you pictures next week.
Oh man, I can't wait to have a discussion of that. And you mentioned a lot of cars that I love. I'm obviously a big Mustang fan. Definitely love classic cars, especially from that era. That body type on that Mustang was just so amazing. You know, it's just, you mentioned Acuras too. You know, I had an Acura Integra and it was a 99. It was such a great car because you know, it would drive forever and not run out of gas. It had something
similar to that I've had several of. Is I actually enjoyed the Honda Preludes, you know, when Honda Preludes were out. So I've actually owned a couple of Honda Preludes myself, which I thought was just fantastic driving cars. Just, you know, so easy driving.
The cornering and the maneuvering was so excellent. Like, you're like, what is going on? So I went from that car to a Navigator, which was a gas guzzler that destroyed my wallet. I love the car. I had all leather seats. It was beautiful. I'm like, after like a year, I'm like, I got to get rid of this thing. It's just, it's killing my wallet, bro. It's killing my bank account.
We're all going to be driving batteries here in about 10 years anyway.
So Chad, man, I want to thank you so much for this amazing time. Great conversation.
Ron, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you in Atlanta, Georgia next week. So
absolutely, brother. Let's do it.
Let's do it.